Well, hello there and welcome back to the pod. As always, this is Braden. On today's episode, we're starting, it's kind of like a little bit of a bonus series. It's going to be 3 parts. So this episode's coming out on a Wednesday, which is normally not a normal podcast release day for us. But we're going to start this series today and then we'll wrap it up tomorrow and Friday. So it's 3 parts. And this is a chunk of what I did last fall in my Facebook group. It's part of what I call the Unfuck Your Biz bootcamp. So same Unfuck Your Biz branding. Just to let you all know, you probably know this is happening, but in the next few weeks, we're going to be gearing up towards the launch of my signature program, Unfuck Your Biz, which is a live course that happens twice a year. I would love for you all to join. All the details will be coming soon. But when I launched this program last fall, part of the warm up for it was this Unfuck Your Biz bootcamp. So the goal was to get everyone kind of in the headspace of feeling like they wanted to unfuck their biz, that they were ready to do that, and also giving them the steps that they needed to help prepare them for the course. So even if you don't end up becoming a student, that's okay. And these podcast episodes, you're going to learn the foundational things that I teach inside of the program, and it's going to help you either way. This process I cover in module 1 of the course itself. It's also like the first third, like the first 100 pages of my book. If any of you have a copy of the book, you've maybe read through a lot of this. This will be a good refresher for you. And the goal is that after you go through these 3 episodes, you'll have a rough idea of how your taxes are calculated. And that's going to help you do things like determine how much you should be saving for quarterly taxes, how much you think that you need to be making in your business to have enough take-home pay to reach your personal goals, all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about what goes into the calculations, and you will no longer need to solely rely on your tax preparer to give you those figures if you have one. Besides, I mentioned this on last week's episode, your tax preparer isn't always going to be keeping you up to date. You can't rely on them to check in with you on a weekly and monthly basis to make sure that your tax savings have been tweaked specifically to what's happening in your personal life. So that's kind of our primer for this. In today's episode, we're talking about finding your why. So if you want to unfuck your biz, it's like anything else in your business and in your life, before you embark on any kind of journey, you have to have a why, or you're probably just not going to follow through. So we have to know where we're going before we can get there. So I like to think of this as like layers of an onion. So usually when we start thinking about what our why is, it's very surface level, and we have to dig deeper and dig deeper and dig deeper. So you might say that your why is, well, I want to unfuck my biz because I want/need better cash flow. Okay, I would ask, well, why do you want and need better cash flow? And you would say, well, so that I'm less stressed out. Like, I'm too stressed about my money. I want to be less stressed. And I'd say, okay, cool. But why do you want to do that? Well, I want to save money, and it's stressing me out because I'm not saving any money. Okay, well, why do you want to save money? I want to save money to pay off my loans. And why do you want to pay off your loans? And then you might say, well, because I want to live financially free, right? Financially free might mean something different to me, might mean something different to you. To me, when I say I want to live financially free, it means that I have enough money to do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it within reason, right? Like, I'm not ever planning at any point in my life to go out and buy a yacht, but if I'm, sitting at home and thinking, you know what, next week's a really slow work week, I'd love to go visit my friend in Seattle, or fly home to hang out with my mom in Indiana, or maybe I want to buy a new iPhone because they just released the new iPhone, right? That's not cheap, but it's not a yacht. It's something that, I could probably splurge on here and there if I were financially secure. And also, being financially free might mean just stressing less, like not worrying about the debt that I'm in. So being financially free might mean being totally debt free to me. So that's a really good core why. Of course, you have to define what it means to live financially free, and then that's your why. And unfucking your business is the first step to that, because if you're not running a profitable, secure, legally protected business, it's going to be really hard to get to the point where you're living financially free. Let's look at another example. You might say, if I ask you, what's your why? Why do you want to unfuck your biz? What is your why? You might say, I want legal protection. And then again, we're going to go through these same steps. Step number 2, like, let's dig a little bit deeper. Why do you want legal protection? You might say, so that I feel more secure. And then we dig into, well, what's going to help you by feeling more secure? Why do you want to feel more secure? And you will say, well, so I can like sleep well at night. Like, I'm stressed out and I don't get enough sleep. Well, what's your next layer, right? You might say, well, I also want to feel secure with protecting my assets and my future. The reason why I don't sleep well at night sometimes is because I'm stressed out about that client email that I got, and I'm worried that they're going to sue me and that I don't know what's going to happen, or I'm worried that this is going to impact the future of my business. Like, what if they write me negative reviews and then people will read those reviews and people don't book me as much, right? We don't really think about all of these things necessarily as a snowball effect, but really when we say I want legal protection, we want legal protection from something because it's causing us anxiety in some way, right? So your homework for today, I like to, whenever I do these boot camps, I like to give homework. It's very, very simple. I would love for you to journal or think on your why for 10 minutes. We'll post a Facebook prompt inside the Facebook group for you to share your why in there as well. So we're all going to dig into this. For me, like, I want to unfuck my biz so that I can live financially free. Obviously, this was a personal example that we covered on the podcast today, but that's a really important one for me, right? Like, I never necessarily feel like I want to get to the point where I have 15 vacation houses, but I would like to not even necessarily retire, but to me, financial freedom means that I could go down to like half time and work 20 hours a week by the time I'm 50 and like travel whenever I want and be out of debt and not stress out about my retirement. That's a big one, right? So maybe I work part-time from the time that I'm like 50 to 70. And then after that, I could retire if I want to. Knowing myself, I'd probably get bored. So who knows? So financial freedom, these goals, they're going to mean something different to you. Think about it, journal on it for a few minutes, hop in the Facebook group, share with us what financial, or not what financial freedom is to you, but what your why is. Share with us what your why is, why you would want to unfuck your biz. So that's today's episode. A little bit more abstract than what we'll be covering tomorrow and Friday, where we dig into some more specific mathematical examples. So get excited for that. But make sure you spend some at least thought time on this. If you're not going to get out your pen and paper, at least think about it for a few minutes. It will set you up for success, I promise. And I hope that you tune in for tomorrow's episode. Have a good one.